A lot of these Gen Zers are savages out here. You know what I'm saying? They said F all that chivalry stuff, all that chivalrous and gentleman stuff like that. And they're like, F that, not us, not me, not today, because of a few factors. Because of a few factors, they are very savage out here when it comes to dating and how they deal with a lot of these chicks because they see what's going on. And more importantly, they saw what went on to the men prior to them. You know, they saw how men prior to them were these gentlemanly type and a lot of these boomers, man. Let me get on that real quick. See, a lot of these older dudes, they really and I'm not gonna get too pissed off or passionate about that, but they completely just fucked up the landscape for the upcoming uh men out here, right? For Gen Zers. And I don't know if I want to call them boomers or whatever the case or whatever it is, because I know there's Gen X and Gen blah blah blah. The older fellas, okay? A lot of them, not a lot, not all of them, a lot of them messed it up for the this generation here just because of how fucking weak they were and how simpy they were. And I hate using that word, but it is what it is. All of their um just views on, oh, you should do this and you should put women first and don't care about yourself. Nah, put her first and she's always right because she's the woman and all that stuff. So all that stuff was like a downstream trickle until now. And a lot of these Gen Z guys saw what's happening or what happened, and they're like, hell no, it's I don't want that to happen. And that's what wise people do. They learn from the past generations. They look at what the other people did before them and they learn from that. That's what wise people do. So I'm gonna give it up to Gen Z and we're gonna get right into it. This is Tarek Talks. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I've never seen so many young people in the gym. Okay. That's fair. I'm gonna say that first of all. These young dudes are getting more in tune with masculinity. Okay. And a lot of these and I said the gym. That was just, me. I'm a gym bro. I'm a gym bro, so you already know I'm gonna talk about this because for a while men were just sloppy looking. You know, you look at TV from earlier years, and even until now, it's probably gotten a little worse. How men were always portrayed as these sloppy, fat idiots on TV, and the woman was the more stern, more direct, the one leading everything. She was the strong one, right? So this has been something that's detrimental to men and how they see themselves because believe it or not, hey, TV is programming. TV program, message. You feel me? Peep how it's phrased. TV program. Okay, and these Gen Zers, they be hitting the gym. These young guys, they be in that mug. Of course, we have a long way to go, but for the most part, a lot of these Gen Z youngins, they hit the gym, right? Because now they're getting more in touch with their masculinity and a lot of these a lot of sources, especially mainstream and all that good stuff, they are trying to shame these young men and say that they're getting radicalized. Well, what does that mean, honestly? What's the hidden message behind this whole shaming language, which is basically what it is, of calling these young men quote unquote radicalized? Why are they radicalized? Because they're not being pushovers anymore, because they're not believing all the bull crap that was fed to them. Because, men, and I'm 35. I'm gonna use guys from my generation too. They ate that whole chivalry thing Uh, they ate it up, pause. No homies, no homizzle. Uh, and the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with chivalry. Nothing wrong with chivalry. What is wrong is when a man is expected to put his best foot forward while the chick does nothing of the sort. Because I'm all for being chivalrous. I'm all for being a gentleman. I'm in a relationship, right? But we have a mutual love for each other. It's not like I'm doing every single thing and she's doing nothing, or else I wouldn't have been with her to begin with, So the problem is, here's where the problem comes into play, is that men are expected to put their life on the line while the chick contributes nothing. It reminds me of that Bruno Mars song, "I'll Catch a Grenade for You." That's pretty much like metaphorically what I think of with how a lot of the past generations of men acted. They just put caught a grenade for a broad that wouldn't even pick up a napkin for him. You feel me? Like, real talk. That wouldn't even A chick that wouldn't even help them fucking pack a lunch or whatever. And a lot of Gen Z dudes, they're not they're not messing with that anymore because we have something called the internet. Now, the internet is a gift and it's a curse. Okay, the internet is a gift and a curse, first and foremost, because it's a curse because a lot of people just consume media every single minute of their day almost. And what happens is, it's internet is even worse than TV. Let me tell you why. Because the internet, you could search whatever the hell you want to. You don't have to wait for a TV program. All my old heads, you had to wait for certain shows, and there was only like 11 shows throughout the whole day that you had to watch. Now, to YouTube, you type whatever the hell you want. You type manosphere, you type feminism, you type basketball, you type skateboarding, you get whatever you want, right? So that's the curse, is that it's consuming people's energy and their attention, and it's sort of like a brainwash deal, and it makes people more lonely than ever. Okay, but that's the curse. Now, the bright side is the information is there. These guys are getting, a lot of Gen Zers, they watch channels like me. Hell, they watch channels like mine and other channels that give them the real scoop on how shit really is. And they soak up this info and they're like, man, you know what? I knew something wasn't right. I knew something right. I knew something wasn't right about how this broad has male friends, or how she is, moving, right? I knew something was up when she constantly taking trips, or she's constantly going out and to different clubs and talking about different guys. I knew something wasn't wrong. All I had to do was research it, and the information was there. See, guys in the past, all they had to go by was what other dudes told them, which was misinformation. Oh yeah, put her first. Happy wife, happy life. Man, you know what? I should have said that earlier in the video, of the epitome of the weakness of the men, these older men. That whole happy wife, happy life bullcrap. That's pretty much the umbrella term that all of those dudes used. If I could encapsulate it into one simp generation, that would be it. Happy wife, happy life. Oh, you better do what she says. Like, bro, what? For what? Well, what is it? I mean, there's nothing wrong. Let me reiterate. There's nothing wrong with caring about your woman. Okay? Nothing wrong at all. This is what you're supposed to do. Okay? But come on, but saying it without some kind of basis, happy wife, happy life. But if she is not reciprocating, then she gotta go. Then it's a no. Then it's a no ho. Then it's a you gotta go ho. That should have been the whole complete thing. But no, what was it? Happy wife, happy life. And that's why a lot of these older dudes left a trail of just complete buffoonery. That's why, I would say they were a main reason why a trail of these younger chicks, it trickled down to the younger chicks, and it trickled down to the younger men of a lot of these problems that are going on nowadays. But a lot of these Gen Zers, they're like, no, we're not doing that. We ain't taking we ain't taking this chick out on no dates. We ain't taking these hoes out on no dates, right? And it's kind of messed up. I really do feel bad because I didn't want it that, no one wants it that way. But that's how it is. They're like, we're not taking you out on a date. I'm not spending no money on you. We gotta get freaky first, baby. And a lot of guys, these Gen Zers, they're putting themselves first. Like I said, they're hitting the gym more than ever, getting in shape. They're not caring about, oh, let me get a wife and get fat and let myself go. No, because they seen guys in the past get rolled over by the woman that they were with. So now a lot of these guys, they're getting called radical, quote unquote. Like I said, because it's shaming language. They're not radical. They're just standing up for themselves. Now they're like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna let you disrespect me like that, ma. I'm not gonna let you talk to me like that. And if you want to act like a floozy, then you can do that. That's why a lot of these chicks are single. So many of these there's never been this many old broads that are single before in history. And a lot of them are like, it's my choice and I just want to have fun. AKA, I just want to be, doing in the streets, doing what I'm doing. And is there some merit to that? Sure. These older chicks want to be in the streets and stuff. But when they go home at night to an empty ass bed, they start realizing like, dang, this stuff is kind of, they start realizing that. But a lot of these younger guys, they don't even want a relationship anymore. They're just keeping it casual, especially, and I've talked about this before. It's a small group of men out here that really take advantage of this whole liberation stuff, right? Especially my Gen Zers. You could call them Chads. I don't really use the word Chads in the traditional sense of the 6'4" jawline, blah, blah, blah. Now, the only thing I will say is these dudes have high sex appeal, right? Let's just keep it a buck. Okay. But they take advantage of these chicks acting loose. They're like, okay, hey, if all you want is sexual interaction, sure, let's just keep it that way. Let's just keep it casual. Let's not even do a relationship. And a lot of these chicks bargain for something that they did. They bit off more they can chew. Because they're like, oh, I don't want a man. I want to be out here in these streets and have fun and all that. Until they start seeing these new younger dudes agreeing. They're like, you know what? I agree. I don't want to marry you. I don't want to be in a relationship. Right? I don't even want the title of anything. We're just gonna smash and that's it. Because they don't see what the point of it is. They don't see the point of getting with a chick that is not gonna really contribute anything, which is how a lot of these young ladies feel, right? This is how a lot of these young ladies feel like they don't have to contribute anything. They don't have to do anything. They don't gotta lift a finger. And a dude should just give her everything she wants. And yes, of course, there's going to be guys that are still simping, quote unquote, but those aren't the dudes that she really wants, right? She doesn't want no guy that's thirsty as hell. Like, she don't want that. She wants the dude that's going to blow her back out, that's sexually attractive, and that has a strong sense of masculinity, right? Or let me not even say masculinity. It's getting worn out, even though that's still true. But he's got, he's a solid type of dude. So a lot of these Gen Zers, man, they're out here super savage, and I'm glad for them. Every time I see a young dude in the gym working out, you see a lot of memes making fun of them, the broccoli hair kids coming in and stuff. I commend them. Hell yeah. Hit the gym. Know that you have power too. Know that you have a shit ton of power. A lot of these dudes are just focused on bettering themselves. They're not, giving these chicks handouts and stuff. And of course, you still have simps, quote unquote, out here that pay for OnlyFans and send chicks money on Cash App and stuff. Let me reiterate, the chicks don't want